Assalamu alaikum. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for this today's webinar. With this business webinar series, we are presenting to a great learning experience at the comfort and convenience of your office. And the pursuit of better understanding, we decide to reach out all our customers and help them explore the benefits and unleash the true potential of TallyPrime. This is our knowledge series where you will get to learn topic by topic everything around TallyPrime. From the most basic of futures to the most crucial of business reports. My name is Mohammad Azhar, and I work with Mass Financial Consulting in Riyadh, and I will be your host for this session. With me, Mr. Khalid, who will be taking us through Tally. He is on Tally veteran on who has closely involved in the product development. He used to work with customers in understanding their requirements and they introduce new feature in Tally for the past level years. Before getting started to ensure a flavorless experience, all the participants will remain on mute throughout the session to avoid any noises and disturbance. Please be informed that we are recording the session as to make the webinar available for further reference and will be shared through our YouTube channel. We hope to have an uninterrupted session. If any network or technical glitch, apologies in advance. We have tried our best to make this experience seamless. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the question box on your control panel. We'll bring them up during the Q&A at the end. Now, let me hand over the session to Mr. Khalid. Hi, sir.
Hi, Azhar. Thank you for handing over the session to me. And I will take you through a quick demo of how TallyPrime works for e-invoicing. So let me just take you to the product. And all of you are aware about e-invoicing, how it works, and how we go on. The same thing, we will also try and share the hands-on experience so that you are able to do it in the similar fashion, and you are able to replicate it in the similar fashion and get the best out of it. So the first thing, when you look into the presentation, I will be enabling e-invoicing, right? After enabling the e-invoicing, I will take you to enabling the vouchers, okay? Followed by that, we will record one or two transactions on the e-invoice voucher, and we will see where these transactions get reflected in the respective reports. And we will also look at how we can save this on our into another folder, either in one of the valid formats for future reference. Future reference means it could be Zatka asking you to submit the invoices in either of the formats. So we could easily pick it up from the system and hand it over to them. Now, once we enable e-invoicing, we will look at its applicability. What is the information that we need to provide in the e-invoicing setup, and how do we enable the required vouchers? Most commonly used vouchers would be the sales voucher in the invoice format, or it could be in the item invoice format, right? And then you could have a credit note and a debit note. Now, and we'll also look into the reports. I'll come to this slide a little bit later, but from here, I would like you to join me and look at the product demo. So I will move on to the Tally Prime. Here I have created a company for demo purpose, and quickly I will get on to the features of Tally. So I press F11 and I enable show all features, and here I have already enabled VAT, and I am going to start e-invoicing. So when I start e-invoicing, I will set the applicability to yes, and here I have to give quick information from when my e-invoicing is applicable for my company. Then should we print the QR code only for on B2B invoices also? By default, Tally prints it for B2C invoices. If you want it on B2B invoices also, you can set this to yes, and this is as per Zatka's requirement. Next is the date format that you are going to use on uh, the date format that is going to get printed on the e-invoice. There are 3 different formats. If you have a look, it is, DDMMYY, MMDDYY, and YYDDMM. So here, mostly whatever is recommended by Zatka, you can adopt that, or again, what is widely used is DDMMYY. So I will choose that and press enter. And last comes the location of e-invoice archives. Archives are nothing but copies of it stored elsewhere on the system. Here I can export it and store it either in XML format or in PDF format. And I have to define that path here. Once I define this path, since I've already enabled it, since I've already done the applicability earlier for a quicker reference, Tally will ask me to provide the security enablement, the security user ID and passwords for the user who's going to generate the uh, e-invoices. So I need to provide the user ID and the password, which I have already done. Once I've done this, I can press Ctrl A, save it. And I'm sorry for that. I will repeat those steps for your reference. What I will do is I'll just come back and repeat those steps. I will get into F11 features, and here I will quickly get into e-invoice applicable. I set it to yes. I will give the date of applicability from when e-invoicing is starting for my company, followed by print QR code for B2B invoices, e-invoices. This means that by default, Tally allows you to print QR code on B2C invoices, that is those which you are issuing to your customers. When you are issuing for B2B to businesses, you can also enable that feature and ask Tally to print the QR code on the invoice. The next one is where I select the e-invoice print date format. By default, this format is set to DDMMYY. There are 2 other formats where the month comes first, and the third format is where the year comes first, followed by the month and the date. So whatever Zatka recommends, you can choose that, or most commonly accepted is DDMMYY. You can choose one of them. And the last one is where I store, where I can archive and keep my e-invoices. Okay, these are in 2 formats. You can save that either in PDF format or in XML format. Tally allows both as per, again, Zatka's requirement. So once I do this step, Tally will ask me to provide the username and password for the user who is going to generate the e-invoices. So I can provide that. and come back to the features screen. Since I've already enabled, that option will not be available now. So let me save this. Now, quickly, I'll take you to the normal ledgers that I have created. That includes the sales, the the customer's account, and the VAT. These three ledgers are already created and followed by an item to generate the e-invoice. So the next step, going back to the the next step that I want to do is to enable vouchers. So to enable these three vouchers which I had listed, sales, debit note, and credit note, I have to get into alter, voucher types, and let me get into sales first. Default, I all that I have to do is allow e-invoicing and set this to yes. So when I set that to yes, you will see there are two options. I set that to yes, and the next two options, if you see, automatic method of voucher numbering is set to automatic manual override, and it is also set to prevent duplicates to yes. So this is done by default, where my voucher number goes to automatic and prevent duplicates is set to yes, so that no duplicate e-invoices generated. Now, I have a in a normal business scenario, there could be a company who is generating e-invoices as well as the normal invoice. Sales voucher is enabled for invoicing, therefore I will not be able to generate the normal invoice. So what I could do is I could create another voucher type. I could create another voucher type, and I could so here what I've done is I've created another voucher type called sales e-invoice, and I am going to use this sales e-invoice for the purpose of e-invoicing only. So what I can do is I can say allow e-invoicing to yes, and I will say that the two options will be set to automatic and prevent duplicates. I can save it. So if you see now, when I go into, sorry, let me just finish the voucher steps and come back. Similarly, what I'll do is I will also go and enable it for credit note. I can also create another credit note if I want to, which I will show to you how to create. I just say E-inv. So here my type of voucher is going to be credit note. Yes. And activate this voucher type. Yes. Allow invoicing. Yes. And I save it. Similarly, I can also do that for a debit note. Now, you see, I have I go into the voucher types. I have two, credit note and credit note for invoicing. Similarly, debit note and debit note for invoicing. I have these two. Now, let me go and record a sales transaction, a simple sales transaction. I will get into the voucher. And when I get into the voucher, I press F8. Now here, Tally gives me the option to choose the normal sales invoice as well as the e-invoice. I can, if I choose the normal sales invoice, I can do a normal sales voucher, and when I choose a e-invoice, I can use it for e-invoicing. So let me choose sales e-invoicing. I'll pick the details of the party. Account. I'm just putting an item. Now here you could click on show invoice details and set this to yes. The company name, the VAT number, and the other details are given. It includes what time, it includes the date and the timestamp of when the e-invoice was generated. So let me save it by pressing enter. And now whenever I want to refer, I could, go back to the daybook and I can just press enter. By default, the sales invoice is set to alteration mode. You cannot open this by pressing Control Enter or just enter. Even if you press enter, it is only there for viewing. You cannot change your e-invoice once it is generated, nor can you delete it. So getting back from this, in the similar manner, I can also generate the credit note also. Just choose credit note and get in the details, and you could go ahead and generate it. Even the credit note once generated will again be in view only mode. You will not be able to alter anything from that. Now quickly let's get into the reports. We'll go into display more reports, and to have a look on the VAT reports, there are two options here. One is the e-invoice register. We will get into this. This is again a date-based report. It is there for one full month. The minute you start recording transactions for the the current month, the report will again be displayed for that particular month only. So here, if you see, you have the dates. The date field. More or less, the reports are the same. You will have the party's details, what type of a transaction it is, what is your e-invoice number, which is automatically generated by the system, and your e-invoice reference number, which you had given. It is nothing but your e-invoice reference number is nothing but your voucher number and the amount details. On the right hand side, if you see, there are keys where you can change the period. You could go back to a particular date, or you could choose the period to view. For example, if you want to go back to the previous month, you can use Alt and F2 and give your details, the dates here. So the invoice register will change to the period that you have given. It will bring out transactions for that period. Similarly, you can archive something here. You need to select and click on Alt A to archive this transaction. Now, when you have the transaction there, but when you click on pending archives, it will show there is nothing pending. This transaction is already archived. Okay. Show all will show all the transactions, including which are archived as well as non-archived. So, what is there in the event log? If you see, event log will basically tell you two things. When this transaction, it is a little different from the e-invoice report. Here, additionally, you will have when this transaction was created. That is on the left-hand corner, you will have the timestamp, the date and the timestamp, by whom it was created, what type of a transaction it is. It is a transaction, e-invoice transaction, the date, and the e-invoice number along with the voucher number. And if there is something that is transactions that are tampered, you can click on show tampered transaction to list out only tampered transaction. Otherwise, you can come back. Right. So this was a small demo on the product where how I can record my on the enablement recording of the transaction and displaying of two reports, which is the e-invoice register and the e-invoice event log. Now, let's quickly get back to the presentation, and here you will notice that I've covered this reports, both the reports. Now, if you just come back into the presentation, sorry, do you have any questions on this so far? Okay, so here I have the list of possible questions that you may have in your mind. I've just put in 4 questions which are normally asked. Can we alter an e-invoice? No. The simple answer is no. Zatka doesn't allow us to modify any e-invoice. Where should I look out for a copy of the e-invoice? Okay. Actually, where can I look out for a archived copy of the e-invoice? If you see the product in Tally, while I defined the applicability details, while applying that, here I have mentioned the path. So on this path, you will find all my e-invoices that are archived and stored. So let's see if we have one there. Yeah. See here, it is there. It is there in, if you see the date and the timestamp, it is there. It was generated on 6/2/2023 at the particular time. It is available in both the formats, XML as well as in PDF. So just double click to open and you can so I can define it on this path. What are the formats that formats of e-invoicing stored on my system? There are two. One is XML and PDF, as I had shown it to you earlier. And what is the difference between the E Invoice register and the E Invoice event log. As I showed it to you, the E Invoice register will have my E Invoice invoices, including the archived and the pending for a particular period. The E Invoice register and the E Invoice event log. As I told you earlier, the E Invoice register will have all the transactions. Okay, but only thing that you will not find here is the date and the timestamp, by whom it was created, and was it tampered. Those are the only differences between an e-invoice event log and an normal e-invoice register, right? As if anyone has any questions, we can take it up apart from the four FAQs. Otherwise, we can proceed.
And thanks again for joining us today. And we wish you a great business year ahead. See you on the next one, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for joining.
Yes, Azhar, thanks a lot. Thank you everyone for joining and being with us. Inshallah, we'll get back to you soon with some more series on and some more topics on for the webinar. Thank you. Bye bye.